Hello, beautiful people. Greg Jones here. Just things into place here. So today's call: how to overcome overwhelm and burnout in life and business. So I'll just wait for a couple of seconds for other people to catch on. We could just have a little chat about that. So overcome and overwhelm is basically when you've got your patterns and habits of having too much going on. And this creates an overwhelm, and the unconscious will put up as a pattern of survival to keep catching it and creating it and achieving it. And we'll come to more about that shortly. I'll draw it up on the board. But this video I'm doing today is really about anybody out there that owns a business, that's an individual or a mum and dad, or maybe wanting to have an online business but not too sure about what actions to take. It's for anyone out there that's feeling the experience of something they don't want, like over anxiety, stress, overwhelm and working too hard, burnout, or simply wanting more. Maybe wanting more peace and comfort, more money, more time, more relationships with the family, whatever it may be. If you're wanting more of something or less, then you're in the right place, because I'm going to explain to you all about structure. It's really important that when we have structure in our life, that we're focusing on what we want to create and not what we don't want. Because wherever we put our attention is what we create. Thoughts are things, and what we think about, we bring about. So it's really important that you focus always on what you want to create. And it's a really an easy thing to do when we're in that structure. But until we get there, it takes time. Now, you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You simply have to be in the structure of taking action around what you want just because you love it for 4 to 6 weeks, and then it becomes easier. Now, I've certainly experienced it with my clients and myself when I've been in overwhelm in the past, haven't been it for the last couple of years because I've been able to remove all the emotions and feelings of past memory that's been creating that. But you simply don't know what to do because you're continuously taking action to create more, to create bigger. Now, a big driver for the overwhelm is a sabotaging belief of not good enough. So when we're going and taking action, building businesses and whatever it may be, we're simply trying to prove to ourselves that we are good enough. And it's not true. It's a sabotaging belief. And we need to remove that from our space, from our active experience, because it's not going to serve us. It's going to create a negative vision continuously where we're creating more and taking more and more action to remove or satisfy this belief and not take action on everything just because we love it. So when we're focusing on what we love, life is a lot easier. Life is smooth, it flows, it runs easy, and we can actually feel and experience everything that we want. But we must take the action, and that's the key. So what we're going to cover today, as I've mentioned, is structure, that you're not broken, and what actions to take to have less overwhelm in life and business. I'm going to do a process today called the 3-chair, which is closed eye. And the reason why we have closed eye is to shut the conscious thought perception part of us down so we can really just focus on the process. And we're going to form a relationship with living a life you love. And as we go through this process, you'll start to see what needs to happen to have more of a life you love, being in overwhelm. So we'll draw up a little bit here to get started. So a little bit about structure. When we're in our current reality, which is now what we're doing, what we're creating, we want to create new things and have more. So that's focusing on what we want, which is our desired reality. So when we're focusing on our desired reality, if it's, say, more money, health, relationships, musician, artist, travel, if it's something we don't have now but we want it, then that's more. So it's simply focusing on more. Now, if we come back to now, which is our current reality, that means this has to be less. So if we were to choose here living a life I love, I think we need to get a new pen on that one. Living a life I love, if we don't have it now, then it's obviously it's more because we want to create it. And this is what's so important to realize about two structures. We're either in our current reality or our desired reality. Now, if we're in our current reality, not having what we want, then we're simply stuck. And we need to be in our desired reality, which is flowing. Because when we're flowing, life is easy. We're able to make choices and decisions from the right structure of just because we love it to make life easy. But to have that, as we're going to have more, this is where our resistance pops up. Emotions and feelings and beliefs that stop us from taking action to have that desired reality. Now, if we look at our conscious and our unconscious, say, for example, this is our conscious, and our unconscious, or subconscious, if you want to call it. Our unconscious is all about survival. And this is really important to understand. When our survival patterns put up a pattern and we survive it, our unconscious keeps looking for continuing that process to have more of it. So if you're overworking yourself and doing more and doing more and doing more, then you're simply going to put up a pattern that you must do lots to survive. It's a crazy thing, but it's a survival pattern in our unconscious. We also have feeling in our unconscious. So all the feelings that we experience come from our unconscious. We also have our conscious here, we have what we think is our conscious part and our ego. Everything that we think about, who we are being thought-wise, is all from our conscious. Now, there's another part of our consciousness that nobody really talks about. Some do, and it's becoming more local knowledge, which is great. And there's some beautiful people sharing it around the world, and we need to have more of it. And that's your superconscious. Your superconscious is your field of information, but it's also your intuition. It's your genius. It's all the information about who you are and what you look like. It also holds all the information and the memories from past experiences. Now, just think about that for a second. If we want to create anything within, or remember a memory from the past, or grow from a little boy to a teenager to an adult, we must need information how to do that. It's got to come from somewhere. Just like the hard drive in a computer. The computer can't run itself without information. We're no different. We need information to know who we are and what we are so we can even make decisions based on past experiences. So our superconscious is really, really important. And you'll find that when you start working with your superconscious to remove what's in the way, everything is so much more powerful. There's a lot of beautiful, heart-centered people out there doing some really good transformational programs, but they're still working with the unconscious, which is really old school and slow. When you work with the superconscious, it goes into the unconscious and does the work for you. And there's a really, really powerful superconscious recode process that we can do. Not today, we don't have time, but I can certainly show you that in a private session if you choose. Because when I first started out my coaching experience 4 years ago, I did all sorts of programs and seminars and live events. And I was trying to do all these programs to figure out what was wrong with me. Why I had these sabotaging beliefs of don't belong, a little bit of not good enough, and why I'd get anxiety and body sweats in public, especially in large groups. I did some programs where they taught us how to shift our beliefs, and they'd give us some good tools about our values and bits and pieces, but it did not remove the emotions and the feelings and the past memories, which is the key. Sure, you can go out and create success and do none of this work and just be in your desired reality, your true end result, and take action. You'll just take all the emotions and feelings into that end result with you. And you might find that because you're working so hard at your business or your life, that other things are starting to fall down. You're not having a loving relationship with your parents or your children. You've lost contact with that. You're finding that work's so important and overwhelmed that you're working too many hours per week and your health might be starting to have some issues. Whatever it is, you need to understand that it's a pattern being created from your unconscious for survival. Whatever you do for 4 to 6 weeks, it's going to make sure you keep doing it because you haven't died. So we must make sure that when we're starting our habits, that we have really good structure in everything that we're creating. So we can have balance. We can have a good relationship with our partners and our children if we haven't. We can have a good relationship with our hobbies, the things that we love to do outside work, and also a beautiful relationship with our health. Because I found that working with all my clients, when we're actually working on health, it's just emotions and feelings, 90% of it attached to past memories. Sure, there's some family genealogically stuff passed down, family generations and stuff, but majority of it is a traumatic experience. And we unpack that in this work as we're going through the program because we all have them. I had them, clients got them, we all have them because no one can grow up in a perfect world where we don't have traumatic experiences because it's part of us growing up. It's just in some cases, they're pretty full on and a lot harder than we realize. And that could be like a poor relationship with parents where you're abused in some way or yelled at, told off for silly little things when you just wanted to be the best you could be as a kid. Could have been an ex-partner. It could be an employee at a job that was really toxic. It could be even growing up as a teenager, you picked on at school from work people, from school buddies. Whatever it is, all those traumatic experiences from the past have emotions and feelings attached to them. But the beautiful thing in this work, we've got a golden key where we can actually remove them by doing some really cool processes. So today we're going to work on what we call a relationship 3-tier, where I'm going to get you to have a relationship with living a life you love. And when we go through the process, you'll be able to actually see what's in the way, which is really important. What's in the way from you having that? And then you'll be able to form a relationship with it. Then after that, you'll receive actionable steps intuitively of what to do next. Now, living a life we love is one of the 4 orientational choices that we do in this work. It's really powerful because when we work through all 4, which I'll show you shortly, we can actually have a really easy quality life. So I'll just share my screen here and I will take it and do some slides. So thank you so much for being on this call today. It's great to have you here. How to overcome overwhelm and burnout in life and business. And today we're going to, as I mentioned, do that 3-tier and talk about developing a better relationship with living a life you love where there is no overwhelm and burnout. Now, in the 4 core truths in this work, you are not broken. You are super conscious powerful. We must step into that and actually realize if we're trying to fix ourselves, we're just going to get more of it. So whatever modalities or programs or courses that you do, make sure that your mentor is never focusing on the problem. Because all we're doing is giving that current identity more energy that you've got a problem. We don't want to do that. We don't want to talk about the past. We don't need to. All we need to do is to focus on the future and take action on what it is and then remove the emotions and feelings of the memories of resistance that's in the way. This modality is based around 20 to 30 years of neuroscience. It's really powerful. It's not my work. I'm simply bringing into this work everything I've learned from the world's greats. The William Whitecloud, the Chris Duncan, the Greg Braden, the Bruce Lipton, all the powerful creators of the world that understand the truth of how this works. And it's so beautiful because I used to focus on trying to fix myself. I did all sorts of modalities and programs, trying to find out what the problem was. And if you're doing that, I need you to really listen and realize that you're just creating more of what you don't want. And if you ever gone to a program and that's been the layout, you get off the call and you might have had some wins and learned some stuff, but you just haven't felt like you've had that massive win or that massive shift that you're looking for. Whereas when focusing on what you want, we move what's in the way, you're stepping into what you have, that's when you gain these massive wins. So as I mentioned here about structure, success is not personal, it's just structure. We don't have to look at ourselves personally, we just have to be in our desired reality, taking action around what we want to do just because we love it. And number 3, using your intuition, you can create anything you choose from your inner power. So I teach you can step into your intuition, and you'll experience that today when we do the process of knowing what actions to take. And then all you have to do is simply take those actions to show you in unconscious and your superconscious that you really want it. And the universe will lay out everything you need to create it in front of you because you're in that structure. It's really, really powerful. I've been able to learn all this work and put it into action. I've now created a coaching company. I've got masterclass. I've got my own certification. I've got one-on-one. And I've done it all by using these processes. Whereas 4 years ago, I was start wanting to be a teacher and a coach, but I couldn't do it because I had a sabotaging belief of don't belong and a little bit of not good enough. And everything that I did, I couldn't remove the emotions and feelings of the past memories, and it would simply create too much anxiety and stress for me to have it. Whereas now I've learned just the last couple of years just to step into what you want to create and be it before you see it and take the action around that. And just leave all the rest of it behind because you don't need it. It's all about structure. Number 4, this work is natural. We are just simply undoing a belief or emotion or feeling you've created from the past that's not serving you. So it's completely natural, and that's what I love about it. So that's the 4 core truths. The 6 main sabotaging beliefs that you'll experience, and most of all resistance or issues, problems that you have that's in your way to creation will all come down to a few of these, but these are the main 6. There is a few more, but these are the main 6 that everything boils down to. So they're not good enough, always feels they must prove themselves to others. And if we've got this sabotaging belief, it's all about do more, do more, do more, do more, do more, be the best I can, the best I can. And we can get so easy into overwhelm and burn ourselves out if we have this sabotaging belief. So to know if we have that, you simply look at what you want to create, something you haven't created before, close your eyes and step into having it, and notice that sabotaging belief. Notice what comes up. You simply ask your unconscious, what's in the way? What's in the way from me having that? Is it fear, emotional, judgment, a belief? And your unconscious will tell you. Sometimes it can take a bit of practice to get this work, to get your unconscious on board because it's a new way of doing things. But once the unconscious understands it and it's a survival, it's not going to die, it's all in and it's magic. Not worthy, always looking for recognition from others. I don't feel worthy with myself. So if I can get recognition from someone else saying that I'm awesome, then I can prove to myself that I am worthy. Don't belong, that was a big one that I had. Believe they can't fit in. You don't like being judged and you never judge others. And that was me. I was creating all these events and businesses and all sorts of groups and stuff of people so I could build it, step into it to get this belief of belonging. And when I'd step into it, that's when I'd notice all this anxiety in the body sweats because my unconscious was going, what are you doing? You don't belong here. What if someone says that you don't belong here or they judge you? It'll prove that belief to be true. So it's taken me a while to get through that and remove it. But now that I have, I'm simply at peace and just living a life I love. And that's why I'm doing these video calls to bring this work to you guys if you choose it. If you choose this work, it'll totally change your life like it has mine and all my clients. It's so powerful, it's fast. And after you've done 12 weeks of this work, or if you're in the masterclass for 3 to 6 months, taking your own pace, where it's fully recorded with some live calls, you'll never need anything else. You don't need to keep trying to fix yourself. Don't need to keep trying to do programs and programs and programs because you're simply telling your unconscious that you're broken. You need to have one program, remove everything that's in the way that teaches you to step into your own inner power, your own intuition, to allow the information to come through for the decisions to make, and then go for it and be supported all the way and guided. We don't do advice in this work. I don't need to tell you what you need to do. I'll teach you to step into your own intuition, to receive the information, to take the action. So if this is something for you, excellent. Carry on watching the video. I'll give you some options if you want to come along for a one-on-one connection call with me at the end. If it's not, you're welcome to stay on and get something out of it. I hope you've already got something out of it. It's entirely up to you. They're not perfect. Number 4. Not perfect is always trying to fix their lives. You'll find that their house is perfect, the car's perfect, the garden's perfect. Everything around them has to be perfect. But unfortunately, with the sabotaging belief of not perfect, you'll find that they're not creating a big picture because it's too far out for them to handle. They just make sure everything around them is perfect. Not capable, always looking to improve themselves through learning and studying. I used to have a little bit of not capable as well, so I was always trying to do the next course, do the next program to try and get qualified in something so I could feel like I'm capable. I only had it a little bit, but I certainly noticed it when I started doing this work at the beginning. But if you have the not capable lot, are you someone that's jumping from each modality? And then you're buying all these products and the programs, and some of them you're not even logging in because you believe you're not capable. So you believe if you buy this program, you'll make yourself to be capable. But then you purchase it, but then you start doing it, and you go, I'm not capable to log in or start not capable to complete it. It's another sabotaging belief. And the last one, not significant, always looking for professional status to fit in. So you'll see a lot of that, in doctors and lawyers and accountants that are really looking for that big status to feel like they are significant. So that's the six main ones, as I mentioned. What we'll simply do is I'll jump back here now and stop sharing. Lovely. So that's the six main sabotaging beliefs. Did you notice you could feel yourself resistance around some of them? You may have a little bit of one of them or a lot of a whole lot. It doesn't really matter. In this work, we can remove it. So let me know in the chat where you're from. Dial in. What part of the world are you from? We're zooming here from the StreamYard. We're going through LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So just put in the comments from where you're from so I can see it afterwards. Be great to see what parts of the world where you're from, where you're coming in to enjoy this call today. Because it's always good to have that interaction. And I love being able to get this work out here around the world. And that's just so cool about the internet. You can just go everywhere nowadays. It's just awesome. So let's just think about that for a little bit. What structure do you want to be in? Do you want to be in your desired structure or your current reality structure? Because the choice is yours. Everything in life is a choice. You get to choose. If you want to choose your desired structure and you're not there yet, having a life that you love, then you've just got to choose it and do the work around it. And if you're not having it yet and you're feeling like you're stuck, or maybe you are having it here and there, which means you're oscillating, oscillating is just like a rocking chair. We're having some success and then we're having a failure, just moving into success and then being pulled back like this. And the big key thing about when we're going for success, if you find the resistance in here is too much, like you're experiencing the sabotaging beliefs because you haven't created a life you love yet, for example, and you can put anything you want into the desired reality. You get to choose. It's just today for this call, we're using living a life you love. So when you're stepping into trying to create this, you might come up with sabotaging belief as you start taking action to go to the gym, change some old habits, drink less alcohol, stop smoking, develop a new relationship, or start saving up money to travel, whatever it may be. As you start taking the action, you'll start experiencing these sabotaging beliefs of resistance. Now, how does it work? It's a great question. If you have a traumatic experience from the past that's lingering around, and attached to it, it's got emotions and feelings. Your identity will be using these emotions and feelings in your field to throw them up here to stop you taking action in your desired reality if you've never had it before. Because it's trying to keep you safe, as I mentioned before, from a survival point. So what your current identity here does is it throws in the resistance to hold you back, to keep you in your existing habits, to keep you safe because it knows what it knows. Even if it doesn't feel good here, if you've been in it for long enough for sort of 4 to 6 weeks, your unconscious still believes it needs it for survival because you have survived. So you might even here be experiencing some fear, some judgment, some fear of failure, like what will the family think if I go out and create this life I love? What will happen if I create that online business? We're going to experience these fears and judgments and beliefs naturally as we create anything. But you don't have to hold on to all the emotion and the pain with it anymore. We can remove it easily. So how we actually remove it is by using our superconscious, which is the field of information around here, to simply step into removing those emotions. Once we move the emotions and feelings off the memory, it becomes wisdom. And how it works is we have millions of neurons in our head, in our heart, in our guts. And say, for example, this is the memory, and this is the memory here. This is the emotion and feeling that's attached to it. Now, if you have a happy, joyful, fun memory, it'll have joy attached. If you have a traumatic memory, then you have pain attached to it. So what the unconscious does, your current identity, is it can use this memory with the pain attached to it, it can throw it up and into your field as you're taking action to have this to try and pull you back. So when we do these processes, we're simply disconnecting that neuron so the emotion, the feeling leaves your body and the memory becomes wisdom. It's so powerful and rewarding that you're then able to take action from a wisdom point of view and not from a belief or emotion or a feeling or a fear. And that's what I love about this work. It's fast, it's natural, and you get results quick. So when we're going for what we want here in our desired reality, the identity throws up this resistance, the fears, the sabotaging beliefs, the judgment, whatever it may be, to pull us back to keep us safe. And what we're actually basically doing is we're starting to take action on what we want to create. I want to create a life I love. I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to start eating better food, start walking down the beach. Then you might start having some wins, start creating what it is that you love, and start having some success. And then after a period of while, the identity will be like, well, what are you doing? I don't know if you're going to survive here. So it'll be continuously trying to pull you back into what it knows. When we start removing this resistance in the middle, it's then easy to use the wisdom to take the action in here, and we simply come into flowing, having it all. And then sometimes we might get pulled back as we go through the process of this work between 6 and 12 months. Now, the powerful thing about it is this identity here eventually knows or believes that it has to die, and identities do not like dying. It's the last thing they want because they're all about survival and they are you. So what we do is we teach it to create a new identity and living a life you love when you're flowing. And what happens is the identity will then it'll shift and it'll come over into your desired reality. So your current reality, excuse me, will then become your desired reality, the new way of being. And that's the beautiful thing about it. If we focus on what we want, we remove what's in the way, we take action on what we want, and we have it. We be it before we see it. Now, when we're being it before we see it, we simply step into what actions would I be taking to have what I want? What actions would I have if I had the life that I love? And it's when we step into that and allow that information to come through, that's when we must take action on those actions that come through and experience the feeling of them, because that's when the magic happens. So we have a journey to superconscious living. I'll just quickly go through this to give you some more education on how we create a lot of these beliefs, emotions, and feelings that don't serve us. Imagine that when you're inside mum's tummy and you've got the 9 months in there, you have it all. You can hear mum's voice, you're warm, you're safe, you're getting food as you need it, you're getting everything you need. You're being created from that little dot after 9 months to being this baby. It's so powerful. And in that time frame, you only have your superconscious, which has been there from the beginning, your unconscious, which is also there for survival, and the two of them work together to build and grow you as this little baby to get you ready for the big day. So when you think you're inside mummy's tummy and you have it all, you're simply then born. Now, you're not a human until you take your first human breath. Up until that point, you're still attached to mum. You're still a part of mum. And that's just so amazing how this whole process is. I find it fascinating how we can become from that little dot into these beautiful babies, kids, and then teenagers and adults. It's such a powerful process. But when we're born and we have the umbilical cord cut and we're on our own, we take our first human breath, As a little baby, we don't know what's going on because we had it all and now we don't. So this is when we can start putting up limitations of who we think we are. If we have a loving, nursing family and mother breastfeeds and looks us after for the first couple of years, then dad takes us to a big mountain and shows us the world, and we live up with a beautiful relationship with mum and dad, you'll have a lot less limitations because you've been brought up with comfort and support and the ability to be able to use your own intuition to create. But in a lot of cases, it's just not that way. Mums and dads, they have their own dysfunction. They've got jobs going on, businesses, overwhelmed, they're flat out at work. They've got to make money to pay for the house, the car, the travel, everything that they believe they need for them to survive as an individual. And us children, we see that. And we take on from that whatever we choose, and it's different for all children, but we'll take on limitations and beliefs around how we see a mum and dad behaving. Because we know as a baby, we need mum and dad more than anything in the world to survive because we can't do anything for ourselves. So we look up and we want to have that relationship with our mother and father purely for survival and to have that beautiful bonding to create knowing that we're safe. So here we got number one, a pure creative spirit when you're born. Number two, you become an individual with a limited perspective. What that basically means is you're becoming an individual because you're no longer attached to mum, and you may have limits based on your outside worlds and how you're being treated. An example was, you might be 18 months old or 6 months old, and mum and dad drop you off to daycare because mum's got to go back to work because they need to pay for the house or have the money coming in to put food on the table to feed you. But you won't understand that. As that little 18-month-old, you might very well put up a belief that you're not good enough because why else would mummy leave me there? And it's not a parent's fault in any way or form. It's just the reality the children take on. They might even take on a belief they're not worthy because why else would mummy and daddy leave me here? And I certainly noticed because that's what we had to do with our children, put them into daycare, I think at 12 months on, 18 months in the second case, because we needed to get back to work to make the money. So it's a normal thing when we have parents are so dedicated to jobs and businesses and everything else in the real world that we're busy doing our thing. It may be the child, starts school and is ridiculed for speaking or being created in art or whichever, and having squash and putting up a belief that they're insignificant, or maybe they're not capable because the other children said you're not good at that. So they might put up a belief they're not capable. There might be some fear being yelled at by accident from parents that are come home from work angry, or the neighbour's dog bit you or almost bit you or chased you down the road and put some fear into you. All these memories have the emotions and feelings attached to them. And that's the thing we need to realize. They're not true, but they're attached there and they're using here to stop us taking our action of creation. So we orientate to the world there through these limitations. I'm just not good enough. Say, for example, that little 6-year-old that falls over in front of the class because on the Monday morning at school, all the kids in the class have to draw a picture. And it's her turn to go up and talk to the class about what her parents did in the weekend. She draws a picture. She's walking up to the front of the class and she trips over the mat or whatever and falls over, and the whole class laughs at her. Now, she'll put a memory up as that little 6-year-old that getting up and talking in front of people is bad. Don't do it because it's so discomfort, embarrassing. There's so much pain attached to it because the whole class was laughing at me. Now, the class wasn't laughing at her. They were just laughing at the fact she fell over because it was funny because they're just kids. But she won't feel that. She'll feel the energy around that and put up a belief public speaking is bad. So for the rest of her life, whenever she's asked to talk in front of a group for work or high school, whatever, she'll be like, no, I can't do it. There's too much fear there. Because the unconscious will use the emotions and feelings from that memory as a 6-year-old, throw it up into a field to pulling her back so she doesn't experience that same emotion again and put herself into that discomfort. So it's trying to protect her. But when she's 25 and she wants to become an inventor or a sales manager and talk to a team about great products or get up on stage and represent a company, it's going to be very hard. She's going to experience a lot of anxiety and body sweats and all these emotions and feelings that she probably won't understand because the unconscious thinks it's protecting her, but it's actually stopping her from creating. So it's so important that we remove these emotions and feelings so we can go and have what we want. And in this diagram here, that's the shift. We make that choice in life that I no longer want to have that. I want to have what I want just because I love it and take the action in it. And we need a platform or a one-on-one coaching where we can actually remove these emotions and feelings. And if that's something of interest to you, then please reach out. We can have a chat and I can show you how this work unrolls. It's really, really powerful and it's a lot of fun. So we simply start doing these recodes and processes to remove what's in the way. So we can get back to number one of being that pure creative spirit. And that's how I feel now as an adult, living in the peace, taking action and building my true choices. Everything I choose that I create is just because I love it. And it's a beautiful space to be in. And I want you too to feel it as well. So in this work, we have 4 orientational choices. Choose to live a life I love. And that's what we've done today. Choose health and vitality. Choose my true nature and purpose. Choose my predominant creative force, which is just taking action because you love it. And it's so important to take action on everything you love because that's where the magic happens. And it's so important to find that true choice, what you're good at, what's your dharma, what's your reason you're here on this planet. You'll know what it is. Just sometimes the thought of doing it, you might think you're going to get into overwhelm of being ridiculed by others for taking action in that because you're not good enough or you're not capable. No one in the family's ever done that before, so you can't have it because we haven't, etc. And to do that, also we must make sure that we have great health and vitality because it's so important to have the best health that we can. We must choose to have health and vitality. So today I'm going to do this 3-tier process. So what I'd like you to do, see my reads going, is I would like you to focus on 3 tiers. This is tier 1, 2, and 3. And if they're looking at a bird's eye, there'll be 1 chair here, 1 chair there, and 1 chair there. And what I'd like you to do is to really set the intention to get the most out of this process. It's completely natural. It's not hypnosis or trance or anything. It's simply closed eye, because when we close our eyes, we shut down all our conscious thoughts. It's really powerful. And then our unconscious believes it to be true, and that's when we can really see the truth of what's in the way. So let's just choose a life I love. And what I'd like you to do is to put that life I love onto chair 3 and whatever that means to you. And I'm going to do a process where I'm going to bring you in and sit you on chair 1, and you're going to look directly across from chair 3 and notice living a life you love, whatever that means to you, in that chair. And you're going to be sitting here looking at it. And to your right will be chair 2, and we'll take you through that chair 2 as a process when we start it. Now, what I'd like you to do is just to get comfortable, make sure your legs and arms aren't crossed. If you're driving, feel free to pull over if you can, or if you're watching the recording, pause it and get it ready so you're in a place of quietness, not somewhere where you'd normally sleep, but somewhere where you can sit in a chair and be well centered. And then what I'd like you to do is just to set the intention to get the most out of it, and just close your eyes and step it into that true end result of living a life you love. Just notice what it is to you. Where are you and what are you doing? What is it like? Who are you with? Are you inside or outside? What is this beautiful feeling of living a life you love? And just notice it all. If you're outside, notice the beautiful smells. Hear the sounds of the birds or the beach or whatever it is to you. Just choose to live a life you love. Just love every moment. And just acknowledge you created it from one beautiful step to the next. And just notice what that means to you. Feeling from your own inner power that you created it. You just love it. And now what I'd like you to do is just to be everyone's beautiful self, of setting the intention to go have a meeting. So what I'd like you to do is just to notice that you're at home, that you're getting ready for this meeting, and that you grab the keys to the car or the bike, whatever it is, and you're on the way to have this meeting. And when you're on the way to have this journey, just notice that you're going to this building where this meeting is, and it's a beautiful high vibe building. It's lots of beautiful energy there. And as you pull up and park your vehicle and you hop out, you're walking towards the venue and you go through the front door and it feels so beautiful. There's all these beautiful heart-centered people in the foyer, and they're all just loving being around you. You can just feel their beautiful energy. It's just filled with love and gratitude. Just notice what you notice. And then as you're looking around this foyer, you notice there's a door. And I want you to go up to that door, open it and walk through it, and go into this meeting room. And as you're going into this meeting room, I want you to notice it's a beautiful white energy room. It's just beautiful and white, full of love and gratitude. And in the middle of the room, there's 3 chairs. And I want you to go over and sit in chair 1. And then I'd like you to notice that in chair 3, living a life you love and everything that means to you is now come along and sitting in chair 3. So you're sitting directly opposite chair 3. And I want you to look at chair 3 and notice what feelings, emotions come up about you living a life you love. Just notice it. What beliefs are coming up about having a life you love? What's in the way? What discomfort's coming up, if any? Just notice the energy between you and living a life you love. You're in chair 1 and they're in chair 3, living a life you love and everything that you imagined before. And just notice the beautiful feelings you're experiencing looking across, and just think what needs to happen to have more of living your life you love, where there is no overwhelm or burnout. It's just living a life you love. And just notice what you notice. And now what I'd like you to do, as your superconscious self, what I want you to do is to leave your body in chair 1. I want you to go up out of your body looking down and notice you're still sitting in chair 1, but looking from your superconscious, which is your field of information. It's your higher self, your source, your genius, whatever you want to call it. I want you to go as your genius, your superconscious, go up and put your superconscious in chair 2, looking at you on the left and living a life you love on the right. And sitting in chair 2 as your superconscious, I want you to look at you in chair 1 and make sure that's you sitting in chair 1 and you're looking at yourself. It's very important that we separate the two. And I want you to ask yourself, what is the outcome of this meeting? What needs to happen for you and living a life you love to get along? Notice what's in the middle. Notice the resistance between the two. Just notice how it feels. Notice how they both want the same thing. There's just that friction between them. What's in the way? Ask yourself, what is in the way? What's in the middle? Looking from your superconscious point of view. With you to chair 1 to the left, and living a life you love to chair to the right, chair 3. And just notice what has to happen to have a better relationship in this meeting for them both to get along, to have everything that you want. What's stopping you from having a life you love? Just notice it. And as that information comes through, I want you, as your superconscious, to go up out of chair 2 and go into chair 3. I want you to become now living a life you love. Just notice it all. Notice the feeling of having it, how beautiful it is. This beautiful, fantastic creation. Just notice it all now. How does it feel having this life that you love? Notice who's with you. Bring on those beautiful emotions and feelings. And now looking across at chair 1 with you sitting in chair 1, just ask, living a life you love, what has to happen for you both to get along? What needs to happen for there to be no resistance? And as you notice that relationship getting better and the connection becoming beautiful, just ask yourself what actions need to happen for you both to be on the same page, to both becoming one. And as you're noticing that happening, that you are getting along now, that the meeting's being an awesome success, I now want you to go out of chair 3, living a life you love, and I want you to go into chair 1. Go back into you, into your body. And now being inside your body, looking forward into chair 3, notice how it's different. Notice now there's a beautiful connection. And I want you to notice what you're experiencing and what actions you need to take to have more of a life you love. And I'm also now just going to do a very, very short recode. So what I'd like you to do is just say it out loud that you give me permission to access your superconscious. Superconscious, are you there? Yes, good. Beautiful. Now just remember with this process, no memories die. We're simply removing the emotion and feeling off the memories. And afterwards, you'll have more wisdom. So, superconscious, you can see this beautiful choice that we've chosen today to live a life we love. Can you please treat all feelings of overwhelm or burnout? Please treat it in the perfect way, in the perfect order, and do a massive change history. Also, please treat all part personalities, the inner child, the wounded, treat it all in the perfect way, in the perfect order, and do a massive change history. Please treat all resistance in your heart chakra, sacral chakra, root chakra, all family history on my mother's side and father's side, all past events, current and present, and all emotions to peace from the past. Treat it all in the perfect way, in the perfect order, and do a massive change history. Please treat all the feelings of dysfunction, of lack of confidence or overwhelm, not being good enough, don't belong, not capable, insignificant, not worthy. Treat them all in the perfect way, in the perfect order, and do a massive change stream. And then just breathe in this beautiful feeling of being lighter. So we can't just please ground all the memories we've touched today and reconnect everything back in the matrix of the universe, including memories 1, 2, and 3, conscious, unconscious, and superconscious. Past lives, future lives, tandem memories, shadow memories, all levels of consciousness, please, and all aspects of consciousness. And now just being in chair 1, looking across at living a life you love, I want you to notice what actions to take. Allow the actions to come through to have more of this beautiful life that you love. What do you need to do? What needs to happen? And then I want you to thank living a life you love for a beautiful meeting. And I want you to hop up out of your chair and I want you to walk back through the door, out of the room, into the foyer where everybody's laughing and asking how it was, how did the meeting go, and you're sharing all the wins and your experiences and all the actions you're going to take. And then you say goodbye to everybody. You go back outside from the beautiful heart-centered building, hopping into your vehicle, and then you drive home. And as you're driving home, thinking about all the actions you're going to take, that when you get home, you're going to write a list out of everything that you need to do. And then you pull up in your drive, you get back home, you put your keys on the bench, and you take a big breath, knowing that you're home, and then open up your eyes and take a big breath, knowing that life is beautiful. So if you want to throw in the comments, how was that experience? And it's beautiful. Sometimes we just need to have a relationship with what we want. And that's what this process is beautiful for. I added in a very small recode in there to remove any feelings of overwhelm and burnout, because this is the basis of this call. So I hope you enjoyed it. You got a lot of value out of it. And in this work, if you'd like to do some more, we have a couple of offers here for you where I'd like you to come and jump on a call, and we can actually do a superconscious recode where I will demonstrate to you how we can remove the resistance to anything that you want. If it's relationships, money, health, love, true nature and purpose, whatever it is, we'll remove the feelings, the anxiety, the stress, the discomfort, the ill health, whatever it is, we'll remove that so you can take the action to have it. Now, I'll just share my screen once again so we can see a couple of options for you. But as if we go from weekly, like the Inner Power Transformation Masterclass, this is a great process where you can get started in the work. It starts from $29.95 US a week, and there's over 80 recordings. There's also 4 weekly live recode transformation sessions with certified coaches like myself around the world. The whole online university has a value of over $2,000, and you can have it for simply signing up at $29.95 US per week if you want. Or if you want to jump a one-on-one and be all more into it and really bring to me exactly what you're having problems and struggles creating, we can do a one-on-one call. But this is just a beautiful option to step into a masterclass that has everything you need to create anything you want. Learn intuition, learn over 10 processes, including the recode and the 3 chair, to removing resistance to having more. A private Facebook group, 25 meditations plus beautiful intuitions of bonus creation, of stepping really into full source of intuition, very powerful meditations, which I've created myself. Or if you want to, you can simply jump into a private coaching session. We will spend a whole hour working on what it is for you to remove the resistance. Now, the link will be put in here in the recordings, but before that, what we will do is I'll just jump into my website and I'll show you how you can find the link. So if you go to gregjonesnz.com, which is here, and click gregjonesnz.com and click on Superconscious Recode, you can actually watch this video, covers a little bit what I've talked about today, and then click on the link. And I'm doing one-on-one sessions, are normally $3.99. I'm doing them for $79. This is US pricing, where you can come along for approximately an hour and we'll show you how you can remove what's in the way. Now, like I mentioned, it might be something that you're struggling with health. You may be wanting to have better health. I've had amazing results from people removing all sorts of stuff that's getting in their way of having a perfect health. It's been really powerful. Just worked with a fellow Dani today. He's had a resistance of his arthritis. He's now able to walk back on his feet and move his feet and ankles around without any pain, whereas beforehand he could hardly walk. It's absolutely amazing what this work can do, and I want to share it with you. So if you're in a situation where you've been trying a whole lot of different modalities and a whole lot of bits and pieces and different programs and medical systems and not getting what you want, then you need to come and see me so we can have a chat and I'll explain to you how powerful these processes are. Because they really do work. They've completely changed my life, my clients' lives, and I want to share the work with you. But you have to will it, you have to want it, and you have to want to step up and come and have change. Come and join us, cool, crazy people that are having change, having a life we love, and experience what it's like to remove that resistance, because you're not broken. You don't have to talk about it. You simply focus on what you want to create. And that's also what's amazing about this. We don't bring up any of the past because we don't need to go there. So I hope you've loved and enjoyed this call and got a lot out of it. If you want to jump on, that's sweet. I'd love to talk to you in person. If not, hope you got a lot out of it. I hope you really noticed unconsciously how we can create what we want. We can easily remove what's in the way by being in the right structure. So I'm Greg Jones. I'll be doing another one of these calls in the short time future. So keep your eyes peeled. Thank you so much for watching.